Hello, Pavlo with you, and your daily dose of Ukrainian accent will find you wherever you are. Today we are talking about Cayin's new creation, portable DAC RU3. As name suggests, it's the most affordable dongle in company's lineup. Its price is just $100, but despite that, company took a no compromise approach. They use ESS 9069Q DAC and they use quad balanced drive architecture of amplification with TI OPA 1602 amplifiers and SGM 8262. And they use RISC processor to control that all. It supports companion app and offers tons of other interesting features. Taking into account that it's Cayin, it's double interesting what we'll get here. So let's find out that. Box is pretty compact and made in a style similar to other Cayin products with nice foiling, and this combination of dark gold and black looks pretty nice. It was wrapped in plastic, but I already removed it. And inside of the box you'll get device itself. Let me push it out, and underneath you'll get cable, and that's actually it. And some manual, of course. They put cable pretty well here. So here is a cable, looks really nice with braiding, thick, so seems to be pretty reliable. And also for about $15 or so you can get leather case. There are a few color options for the case and few color options for the deck itself. And with case came this magnet attachment. You can glue it to your player, smartphone, or whatever you're going to use as a transport, and then stick this deck to it. In terms of design, device is pretty minimalistic, just simple rectangular shape, but of course it's Cayin, so they put a bit of interesting decoration elements here, like this extension for buttons, for example, or this nice looking back panel. In terms of controls, everything is pretty simple. Here is small screen, 3 buttons for volume control and menu. Also they use for navigation, USB Type-C to connect it to transport, and 2 outputs, single-ended and balanced. So let's connect it to transport and let it turn on. So screen is not bright. I'm not sure is it visible or not, but it's maximum brightness settings. All information is on the screen, like signal resolution and PCM, then volume and all status information. If you press and hold menu button, you getting into menu. You can change here gain, and you can actually, let's set it to low. Then PCM filter, equalizer, output, headphones out or line out, USB control version as usual, mode standard or high power, brightness it's at the 7. Then software version, factory reset, then goes screen timeout, 2 themes, channel balance, and we back to gain. So all basic settings you can control from the device itself. Here is a companion app simply called Cayin Control, and it has nice pleasant interface, photo of the device, current firmware version, playback control buttons. Then you can change volume here, you can turn on and off equalizer, and toggle USB audio settings here. If you turn on equalizer, you can adjust it. Here, as you can see, you have just a simple graphic equalizer. You can move bands as you like here. Then audio settings. Here you can change between standard and hyper mode. You can select output mode, line out or phone out, gain low and high, channel balance, and PCM filter. And also in the device settings, you can change brightness, screen time. Let's move it to maximum level, just as an example. So still not super bright, but at least visible. Screen timeout, one of two themes, and firmware upgrade. And also here is user guide. So nice, pleasantly looking application that allows you to control all settings of this device. Of course, traditional power consumption test. You can see tester connected. I'm using iPad as a transport because it provides sufficient amounts of power to be sure that there is no limitation from the transport standpoint. And you can see measurement results yourself. When it comes to the sound, it's unmistakably Cayin's signature. It's technical, it's natural, but at the same time it's not natural because it's definitely leaning towards slightly warm, impactful, dynamic and emotional side of things. So it's Cayin's vision. They want music to sound really emotional and engaging. And it's pretty fun that they managed to achieve this goal with virtually any set of components. RU6, RU7, RU3, RU9, all the portable DACs definitely share some traits that allows you to identify it as a company-made device. And probably it's great because company fans definitely know what they are getting. RU3 has two operating modes, standard and hyper. And they have audible difference. It's not huge, but at the same time, it's definitely a way to a bit of suffering. Because you always thinking like this difference is not huge. It's not like, night and day difference when you can say, oh, it's not that important. I will definitely select one of these modes. Either difference is absolutely inaudible and you can select standard mode, or like hyper is absolutely worth higher heating of the device and higher battery consumption. No, you always will be adapting. At least that's what I did. But then I decided that I will use standard mode on the go with portable devices because when you doing some commute, it's not that important that small difference in the dynamics. And when I'm using it with my laptop, I will go to the hyper mode because for laptop power consumption is not that important. So it was a way to settle all this for me. And of course you can use equalizer to change the sound signature, but we'll be talking about the equalizer off mode because even in this case device is really fun and exciting. So bass goes to maximum depth. It has a bit of additional weight, not in terms of quantity, but in terms of just representation. And luckily, this additional weight doesn't mean that bass is slow or lacking dynamics, because you're getting a really good amount of small nuances, maybe not maximum, but sufficient enough to make everything sound really precise and to make instrument sounds realistic. And at the same time, when necessary, you're getting great texturing and you're getting nice impact and rumble. So bass is versatile, but with a hint of additional warmth. But at the same time, it's well controlled and stays at place. Sometimes instruments are slightly exaggerated in size, but actually not too much. It's more of a bit of coloration. And first example, it's Hiromi Uehara player. And usually I use Hiromi's tracks as an example for the treble, but her music usually has a great accompaniment because it's Hiromi Uehara trio with great drums and bass. And the bass here is really well recorded and really highlights magnificent keyboard work by Hiromi herself. And here we're getting a bit of exaggerated bass, but not too much, and with all that nuances sounding nice and realistic. And second example, Rocket for Me by Caravan Palace. It's more of electro swing, dance music with great bass line, engaging and emotional, but at the same time not dominating thanks to the good mids and treble representation. So mids here has noticeably boosted dynamics, not too much, not to be like shouty or aggressive, but dynamics is great and emotions are highlighted. And that means that you get slightly more forwardness in vocal, you'll get slightly more aggression in guitars, so all your music will be slightly like sharpened. And not in terms of sharp sounding unpleasant, just with that boost of dynamics and engagement. Imagery stage is pretty nice. It's wide, deep, not absolutely holographic, but with decent positioning. And in this case, actually, depth is even better defined to my ears than width. It's not super critical for the quality of records because this emotional engagement definitely masks a bit of recording issues, but as usual, better material will mean better results. And of course, instruments will have a good sense of realism and vocals will sound lifelike. So, first example, it's Doom Saloon by Clutch, and like a bit intentionally dirty recorded track with interesting guitars, with a lot of emotions put here, and this deck delivered it pretty well. And Beauty by David Gilmour, maybe direct opposite of the previous track, really subtle, really gentle, really beautiful as name suggests, and with a lot of emotions, nuances, great guitar work, and all that portrayed really well by RU3. And the treble, actually, thanks to this kind of emotional approach to treble, it definitely matches my tastes. It has a slight hint of additional energy put in the high frequencies area, but thanks to good technicality, it doesn't sound sharp or like fatiguing. Extension is really good for this price range, maybe not maximum, but above average definitely. And also it offers surprisingly good amount of layering. Not perfect by any means, because for example RU7 does this more effortlessly and better, but still pretty good treble representation, both in terms of basic and extended overtones. So you'll get instrument sounds really lifelike, and all tracks will sound with a lot of air. And if you don't like treble, actually, you can just use some equalization. And first example, it's Shimmy by Vladimir Cosma, really upbeat music, saturated with light and positive emotions, with a lot of instruments going to the high frequency area, and RU3 delivers it effortlessly. And Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. I really like this remastered version for the Love compilation, and all that violins have a good separation, have good decays, pretty airy and engaging. When it comes to pairings, it's a really well thought device. On one hand, you're getting really good black background, especially on the low gain and single-ended output. Virtually zero noise, even with super sensitive IEMs. And plenty of power for full-size headphones. Of course, it's not created to drive some hard-to-drive, low-impedance, low-sensitivity planars, but vast majority of full-size headphones it will drive without any problems, especially from the balanced output. In terms of comparisons, to be honest, not much sense in comparing it with other company decks, because its difference is pretty obvious, that Cayin's signature sound is what stands apart. If you want engaging and emotional presentation, it's a device for you. If you want something more natural, there are a lot of other DACs on the market. So, speaking about the comparisons, I will mention only Cayin owned devices. I mean DACs. So, RU3 is warmer and more analog sounding with more impact and more weight. And RU7 actually probably the closest to RU3 in terms of signature, but of course RU7 does this more natural, more refined on the mids and especially in the treble area, but it's actually not night and day difference. So RU7 is better, but RU3 also offers great value. So, if you are a fan of Cayin sound signature, or if you like emotional type of representation, definitely keep RU3 on your radars and check it out when you'll get such opportunity. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.